right, everybody, welcome back. This is Brian for Breaking Down Security, episode number 7.
Is this thing on? Hello?
Yeah, it's on.
Testing.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, you making the jokes this week then? Okay. Well, so this week was quite interesting. I am now in what they call the greater Seattle area, if you look at my LinkedIn profile. Mr. Betcher is doing okay by himself so far. I've talked him off the ledge a couple times this week, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I miss you. I miss your curmudgeonly little face in my office, which I don't have anymore. But all right, so this week was we're going to have our interview with Kevin Johnson. He was here back in mid-February during Sans AppSec, teaching the Sec 542 Web Application Pentest class, of which I have a coin because my team won the challenge for that.
Oh, look at you.
I don't rub it in. I just, it felt real good to actually, learn and win, even though I only found one flag. So the other part of my team found the other flags, but it was still cool. So we did this interview. He was on a way to a speaking engagement on Friday afternoon.
Yep, we offered to take him to his next engagement or give him a lift. And, this is our interview with him in the car. So it's kind of weird, but interesting at the same time.
It's where the mole people live.
Oh, okay, got it.
All right, so we're recording.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Right. Yay! All right. So this is Brian and Brian on Breaking Down Security. We're with Kevin Johnson and other people in our class.
We picked up a few hitchhikers.
Peanut galleries. With our towels.
We are driving.
That's right. And we're on our way to another engagement. But I'd like to welcome Kevin, our instructor, who is fantastic. He's the author of about, 25 different open source projects.
No.
Not 25?
Not 25.
No, it's like 17 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Laudanum, base. He's been helping out with the Active Defense Harbinger distribution. So welcome, Kevin.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Most superheroes have an origin story. We told ours last week, so maybe you could tell us a little bit of how you came to be where you're at today.
If I'm a superhero, we've set the bar very low.
Well, we said we were superheroes last week. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in that case,
Yeah.
I don't have a cape, though. No capes.
No capes.
How did I get to where I'm at? I honestly don't know. I look back at where my career got, and I ended up here. I've been in IT for a long time, 23 years this year, so I'm an old fart. Yes, I remember modems, and I just kind of went through the process, right? I did admin, I did development, I did this, I did that. Basically, if it involved computers and was legal, I did it, and just kind of played. And then over time, started to realize how important security was to what I did. Started paying attention to it, and then transitioned kind of oddly into it. Like, just one day realized I was building incident response teams and doing forensics, and woke up one morning and was a defender. And most people probably know this, but I'm a lazy bastard. And so blue team is hard. You have to get everything right. You got to do it. And I admire everybody who has the fortitude to stay in it. And I became a red team member, and it's much easier. And I giggle way more often in my job than I did as a blue team member. And that's it.
So you've been with SecureIdeas. You created SecureIdeas
3.5 years.
3.5 years ago.
Yep. At what point did you say, screw this crap, I'm going to start my own company?
I actually never said, screw this crap, I'm starting my own company.
Yeah.
I was working for a consulting firm.
Stay on this road.
The directions. I was in a consulting firm. I was traveling a lot, and travel got to be a little much. And so I took a job at Bank of America as a lead pen tester there in the audit department. when I announced to friends and everybody else, hey, I'm leaving in Guardians. Great company, loved working with them. But I'm leaving, people said, hey, can you do side work? I don't know. So I talked to my soon-to-be new boss and asked if that was okay, and he gave me the rules. And so on the Monday that I started working for Bank of America, I started working for SecureIdeas. 2.5 months later, Bank of America changed my job to be an auditor, which I'm not. And SecureIdeas had been busy, solid. And my wife said, this is dumb, quit. Yeah. So there was no, screw this, I'm going to start a company. It just became oh my gosh, I am a company. And that's where it went.
Okay.
Now we're at 9 employees, spread out across the United States, and we're busy as hell, which is nice.
So you don't have the typical office environment. How do you guys, plan meetings? You do a lot of Skype, a lot of Google Hangouts, those kind of
We
things?
never use Google Hangouts, ever. And that's not because of security reasons. It's because I can't stand the hats and the masks you can put on people.
Oh, yeah, it's too easy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an annoying pet peeve of mine. We'll use Skype. We use IM. We have and those are for non-sensitive things. Mm-hmm. We do have an internal IRC server that all of the staff sit in. And one of the nice things about that is, like, when we're on doing a job, the customer gets 2 consultants, let's say. But those 2 consultants are talking to all the other consultants by IRC. And so if we run into something, hey, man, that looks interesting. Anybody else seen this before? We bounce back ideas and stuff. It's really, really nice. So, yeah, we do that.
All right. So we're in the Sec 542 SANS class, and one of the tools you gave us was distribution you use. Take a right. And it's called Samurai FTW, which is Web Testing Framework.
No, it's Samurai WTF.
What did I say?
FTW.
Oh! Well,
so it is for the win.
It's because I'm dyslexic.
But...
yeah. We were trying to figure out GFY's acronyms earlier in the week. So was this just built out of a necessity to have a number of tools, or you just decided that Backtrack had too many, or you just wanted roll your own?
You guys give me too credit for planning. Too much credit for planning. Basically, I was supposed to be at DEF CON, didn't make it to DEF CON, was bored for the weekend in 2008. I built a Linux distribution. The thought process behind it was really just I love Backtrack, now Kali, use it all the time. Mm-hmm. It's great, but it does get overwhelming for people who are trying to learn, trying to get started. There's all these shiny, pretty things you want to play with. And so the idea of being able to focus just on web pen testing, put in some vulnerable apps that you can target and stuff like that, was the main purpose.
Sure. And there's some tools you think might be on the Samurai build that isn't on other builds?
I'm sure there are. I know that in past releases we've had tools that weren't in Backtrack, and then Backtrack adds them, and then we add something else, and they add, we really don't pay a lot of attention to that because we don't treat it as it's not a competition,
You're not
right?
keeping up with the challenges.
First off, we'll never have as many tools as Backtrack, right? Because it does more than what we do. And really, does that benefit anybody to make it a competition?
Yeah.
Right?
If everyone's the same, then nobody's unique.
Yeah, we're all unique like snowflakes.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, we've got other people in the building here in a vehicle.
What's that? We have a peanut gallery jumping in.
Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi. So I'm Jerry Morgan. I am also a student in the Sec 542 course. Kevin, my question for you really is the transition from starting your own company. What were some of the obstacles that, looking back, you wish you would have done differently as far as building the company and actually engaging with clients and things like that? I don't come from a business background, but I recognize the importance. And so I'm wondering, and you seem obviously very technical. Did you also have a business background, or people close by that you were able to lean on to help?
So I think it's an interesting question. I've never really thought about what I would do different. I will say that I've been blessed totally with what we've got, where we've gotten to. I was in the right place at the right time. I had some really good people supporting me. For somebody else looking to make that same transition, don't be dumb, right? Get a lawyer, get an accountant, pay attention to what they say. Make sure they understand what you're doing. And I'll tell you, our attorney is Dave Hodis. best attorney ever. I recommend him highly. He understands pen testing. He knows what we're doing, and he builds things around what we're doing. And I love the guy to death. Get an accountant that understands this stuff, because the biggest problem that I had, and we're trying to fix this, is, and this is a problem many people who start businesses have, is that you feel like you have to do everything. It's very hard to say, you know what, I don't know how to do that, so I need to have somebody else help me, because this is my baby. This is, and you know, there's 3 of us that own the company, Laura, Denise, and I. And even there, it becomes very difficult to say, I'm going to trust you to go forth and do what I can do myself, or even can't do. So pay attention to advisors, talk to people, reach out to people who've done it before, write me an email, call me, right? I'll talk to you. But that's what I would say.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Sure. I'm David Hunt. I'm also in the SEC 542 class. I was wondering, Kevin, what's next for you in SecureIdeas or as a SAN instructor? Do you have anything big coming up?
Wow. Yes, we have lots of big stuff. We're hiring. We're expanding the company. We have just started a channel program where we're trying to do resellers to resell our bundled services, which is actually looking to work very well. We just released the passive scanner that people can go to. We have lots of classes going on. We have the MOBASEC course coming out, which we ran last year at DerbyCon. We're running it, I think it's already scheduled 7 times this year. We just signed up end of last year to a GoToTraining account, and we've been offering online webinars and webcasts, some of them free, some of them, we did like a $25 a head 2-hour burp class where we just dug into burp. It's $25, you got on, no big deal. We're about to do an advanced one of those, and one focused entirely on SQL injection, right? And so we got some of those coming out. I feel like a marketing ad right now.
That's cool.
But, yeah, we got some cool stuff.
So, you've obviously done a lot of pen tests over the years. What are some of the stupidest things you've seen clients do to just make themselves available to anyone?
Yeah, the stupidest things I've seen clients do. Well, one, not hire SecureIdeas. That's right off the bat. It's the dumbest thing to do. But no. I mean, I've seen everything from the end of last year, I compromised an entire system, the entire network, because they had MSO 8067 still not patched.
Okay.
I mean, it was 2013. 5 years ago, this patch came out. There's malware actively exploiting it. Why would you not have that patch? Why? The biggest thing I find that people do is they don't pay attention to what they've got, right? Most people are so heads down focused on work, right, that they don't look around. We just had a test where we were looking at, you went out to the website, and they had to do some verifications of data, like, hey, let's check who you really are, and they push down the website to the client your full account information, your social, all this really sensitive information, and then in JavaScript compared it to your answers. And it wasn't that the developer was dumb, it was just they hadn't thought about an interception proxy, the ability to see that traffic, right? All of this kind of stuff, and that's it. It's the not understanding why, right? And that doesn't even get into people falling for my FedEx uniform.
Yeah, I saw that you had it delivered by UPS, I believe, which is
Yes. Yeah. When I ordered the FedEx uniform off of eBay, UPS delivered it, which I thought was fun.
Got another question? Okay, so we've been learning a lot about web application security, and
Glad to hear you were learning.
I know. Take this exit, and then we learned the first couple nights of Clash, about various different types. There's SOAP, there's AJAX. If somebody wanted to learn how to exploit SOAP or Java, are there other tools like other web vulnerability, VMs or something other than the SEC 542 that we have, which you obviously can't get for free, I'd imagine?
You absolutely can get.
Oh, yeah.
You mean the target VMs?
Yeah. Like
okay, so you
ones
can
with all the
download
naughty stuff on it.
Oh yeah. You can download Samurai 2.1, and 2.2 is hopefully coming out soon. I just got to build the release. But 2.1 has tons of vulnerable apps built into it. Matilda by Jeremy Druin is amazing with vulnerabilities. You've got DVWA by Ryan Dewhurst over in the UK, which is just damn vulnerable web app. It's got web services built into it, the web applications itself. There's tons of vulnerable apps. And then on top of that, and we'll actually talk about this afternoon in class.
Okay.
On top of that, I recommend go download actual software. Install a VM that has WordPress on it, or has Sugar CRM, or has SharePoint, or whatever, and test it.
Yeah.
Right? Practice.
I think
Practice is important.
We were talking before the podcast. It's like if you can't find one, or you want to, take a vulnerable app, you just need to install it properly with the current version and wait about 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're running something like Tomcat and you want to test vulnerable Tomcat. Eventually you're going to have vulnerabilities because it's an Oracle product. Oracle doesn't sponsor us, by the way, and probably never will at this point.
Never will. It's like being sponsored by Adobe.
Oh! Well, they've tried. They've tried. They didn't have a security program, and then now they've got kind of a security program. They're working on one.
Yeah.
So.
Brad Arkin's doing good work there.
Yeah.
He's just pushing that rock uphill, though, is the problem.
Yeah, it's Sisyphusian. So you work with active defense. You believe that we should hack back, which is a controversial subject for some people.
I don't like the term hackback, right? Because it really is some very bad negative connotations there, right?
Sure,
the idea.
Sure.
But I do believe active defense, the idea of defending yourself actively, identifying the attackers, identifying where they are, identifying what they're doing, and then trapping them, right, with things like Web Labyrinth and what have you.
Yeah.
Absolutely valid. And doesn't violate any laws as far as I know. I want to be clear, I'm not a lawyer. Only 2 of my Facebook profiles pretend to be.
Yeah.
But according to my attorney, according to everybody else I've talked to, it doesn't violate any laws. The minute you start to exploit the system, now you're starting to cross a line. Should you be allowed to do that? I mean, if we want to start a political debate, we can say we're allowed to shoot back. Why aren't we allowed to hack back? But that's a totally different tangent we could go down. Yeah. But yeah, active defense I think is absolutely valid. Hacking back it's like saying responsible disclosure. Responsible disclosure says, I'm going to disclose it based on if the vendor lets me.
Yeah.
That's not responsible, right? That's a trap. Hacking back is the same type of trap.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're almost. Getting interviews. Like, I've got 6 people that are like, Jerry, and I'm like, I'm not ready to take a job yet, for one.
See, that's your first mistake.
No. I mean, I'm not ready because I literally just left my position.
Oh, okay.
And I need a month off because I've got 5 SAN certs that I need to get done.
That's different.
That's what I mean.
Are you recording now?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Okay, so Jerry's question was, how does someone get into this industry if they are...
How do you make this a career?
Yeah. The same way you make IT a career. I mean, there's no recipe, and I think you just said that right before we started recording, is there is no recipe. I got into it because I was in IT, I was a nerd, I slid into security. Other people, they come out of college, they come out of whatever, and they want to land in security. I personally believe that you have to have some level of IT experience, right? You have to have done, not just stopped, right? Yeah. And so I very firmly believe you have to be an admin or a developer or whatever to then become a security person. And then how do you get into the field is network, meet with people, talk to people, join Twitter and have a conversation with HD Moore, right? Talk to Josh Abraham, talk to, all of these different people, talk to James Jardine, right? And join open source projects, start helping out with the community, become a known entity. And I don't mean a known entity like be a celebrity, you're a rock star. I mean it as if you look at the staff of SecureIdeas, currently every single staff member of SecureIdeas is somebody I've known some other way, right? We don't normally put out cattle call interviews like, hey, we're hiring, send us your resume. By the way, don't send us your resume. But Because we get I love it. They send me a random Word doc, and it's like, okay, you failed the first test because you thought I was going to open that. But get known, work with people, help out, volunteer, go do public presentations, speak. And what will happen is, the next time you're ready to take a job, you're going to start picking out to your network. Hey, do you have a position? Do you know somebody hiring? Email me. Are you hiring? Do you know somebody hiring? Yeah, I do know somebody hiring. I just got a call from a recruiter. There's a position in your area. Call this person, right? Build that network. This is a matter of who you know, right? And that's not in a bad way, right? But that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And
join organizations. I was with ISSA for 2 years, and then I was like, I need to do something about it, or stop talking about, or be on the periphery. I helped, organize events with ISSA, and I was like, I need to run for position. I need to, make an impact. I was networking with the folks at ISSA, but the other reason we started doing the podcast was we wanted to help people understand security concepts, or to stuff that we may not even understand ourselves. So we're doing it. You're doing research. We're understanding it and passing along what we've learned to people who may not be in information security but want to, or are in IT and are like, well, why are we what's this hash thing? Why do we need to compare file check summing, or why do we need to do this? So that's why we want to inform and help people, because the I am Calvary thing got me specifically, because I was like, yeah, there's a lot of people who don't know a lot out there.
I hate to say it, but everybody's mispronouncing that. It's not Calvary.
Calvary?
Cavalry.
Cavalry.
Calvary is a hill Christ died on.
Oh, that's true.
Cavalry is people on horses riding in to save the day. Right? So, yeah, I just correct, because I hear it all the time the wrong way.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I want to point out, though, you're absolutely right. Awesome, 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 right? But the thing that I hear so often is, I'm not ready. I'm not qualified. I don't know enough, right? And I laugh, because people will say to me, Kevin, I'm not even going to apply for a job until I know all the stuff you know. Oh, geez, you really want to know what color my boxers are? Because that's something I know. Gray.
That's going in the
and yeah, I know. And so when I first started, and I decided, you know what, that security thing sounds interesting, and I'm kind of in it already. Let me get better into it. I came up with 10 things I needed to learn before I could become a consultant, and I learned one of them. And I realized I had 19 things I needed to learn before I could become a consultant, right? Because there were 10 things I didn't even know existed until I learned that one thing. And I say to people now that I'm dumber now than I was when I started, because I know how much more I still need to know, right? And other people say I'm dumber now because I'm just dumb, but that's a different story. That's the holdup that many people do. And I'm not saying just say, oh, I can figure this out.
Go around the corner, follow the corner.
I'm not saying like just take a job because you'll learn on the job, but don't let yourself hold yourself back because there's something else to learn. There's always something else to learn.
Yeah. It's like Stan said, he's like, I hate people who call themselves experts, because there are no experts.
Yep.
So it's just people who know
It's almost
stuff.
as bad as calling yourself a thought leader.
So if I could sum that up, you mean just shit in your pants, jump in, and start swimming?
Wait, what?
I'm not sure I would say shit in my pants, jump in, and start swimming.
Now we've got explicit markings on our podcast.
He started it. That's what he said. But yeah, jump in and do. Leave the other part out.
Sure. Yeah, we're planning on doing video and stuff. I mean, obviously we're not going to get right immediately to, we just want to help people, get some interviews here and there.
That is awesome.
And do some screencasts on different applications. And, keep going, drive through. And, I think that's helpful.
This is going to be the weirdest podcast ever.
That's okay.
This will have random directions. Yeah. And the funny thing is, people listen to podcasts in their car. So I can just see people, right? Like, they'll be driving, all of a sudden you'll say, take a right, and they will.
In 500 feet.
Where am I going?
Turn right. At the stoplight, turn left.
That is awesome.
I'm going to turn right here.
No. Keep going. Got to go to San Jacinto. Right now we're on 15th and San Jacinto in Austin, Texas.
Going in Guadalupe.
I know.
What it says, Guadalupe.
It's okay. San Jacinto, but it's right by the Omni.
Guadalupe.
Guadalupe.
Okay.
Well, it depends on what part of
In
America
Austin,
you live
you
in.
say Guadalupe.
Guadalupe. It's like Man Shack and Burnett instead of Burnett.
And it's not Buddha, it's Buda.
Buda, yeah, and Man Shack is Manchaca, Man Shack, instead of Manchaca.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're, come to Austin, they know you're out of towner if you call it Manchaca. So you mentioned in the Hackformers, where we did our speaking engagement just now. Yeah, San Jacinto.
Yep.
Turn now at the light.
Eyeballs are coming out.
That you were okay with licensing or a possible, like a bar association. You said that in class, like similar for lawyers. You do a bar association for hackers.
Basically, my idea is, and I know this is like one of those things where people are like, oh no, and I'm not saying let's get more government control, but I think that there has to be some type of standard to be able to say, I can do this. And I'm not talking about a business model of certification. Not that there's anything, you want to do certifications, but we have somebody break into a company, they steal data, they get caught, and then they announce, well, I was a security researcher, I was doing research. So then all of a sudden it's like, well, do we support them and get them out of jail, or do we condemn them and put them in? Well, we don't know, because there isn't that written standard that says this is what you will do.
Sure.
Right? And I think that if we came up with something like, here's what we consider the quote-unquote hacker ethics, right? Not ethical hacker, but hacker ethics. This is what we're allowed to do. This is what we're going to do. Whether or not that matches what the law says or whatever, that's a different conversation for smarter people than I am. But if we have something we can hold people to and say, did you follow this standard? Yes? Then good. We're going to support you and help you out and do what we can, right? Did you not follow the standard? Does that mean the standard has to change because it's wrong? Or did you just violate the standards, right? I mean, it's just plain and simple.
So it sounds like in your system that, you have proposed, people like Kevin Mitnick would not be able to do hacking because he did it the other way. He went to prison, got out, and...
See, now, I understand your thought process, but you're expanding it further than I'm yet comfortable to expand it, is that now that if you don't follow the ethics, you can never follow the ethics, right? That's like I stumble and fall, but I can't get back up.
Sure.
Right? Based on whatever we come up with as an ethical standard, if what Kevin Mitnick did went against that, then fine, he went against it. If he now says, okay, but I'm going to follow it from now on, okay, good. And I hate to pick on a single person, right?
Sure. But he's pretty well known.
He's an example, right?
Yeah.
And so it just becomes one of those things of, here is a standard we can stand up to. So
if you did the crime, you did the time, you get out, and you're
go
good.
from there.
Then,
So I'm going to jump out. Yep, thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, so that was our going to the Hackformers meeting and coming back from the Hackformers. We'll post the links to the Hackformers video if you wanna watch that. So he had, he does a lot of open source programs. He's got Samurai WTF, Laudanum, Base, which it's kind of all over the place. He doesn't have one thing that he works on.
Yeah, I think he mentioned, not in the podcast, but when we were talking to him just off the cuff, he said, one time I, was trying to get this thing going and there wasn't a tool for it, so I wrote a plugin for this, or I wrote a tool called, what was it was something related to Bubba Fett, is what he named it. I can't remember what it was.
But he sees a need and he fills a need, and obviously he invents things on the fly that works for him with
So he gave some great advice on getting a foothold into IT security, which I thought was great.
Yeah, you need a good support system, and you have to have people who will help support you. I find a lot of people don't have that. I mean, which is why it's always good to be a leader and to help those who are interested in the craft.
Yeah, and how about the license to hack? What do you think about that?
A lot of people find it, when you don't hear him explain it, it's kind of inflammatory. Like, we need to have more government monitoring, which a lot of people don't want. A lot of people want government to stay out of our lives. And in many ways, what he wants is a governing body outside of the government. He doesn't want a government, license similar to the DMV. He would like a murder board kind of test where you actually know what you're doing, which I agree with. I can understand why, if I am hacking and I have a quote-unquote license to hack, 007-ish like, that I am doing what I'm doing from an ethical point of view, and I've been vetted by people in my field that I know what I'm doing. It's kind of like what I would have hoped the CISSP was, that I was vetted by a governing body that basically says I know what I'm doing. It works for my boss, at least. He thinks I know what I'm doing with my CISSP.
Well, I just don't see... Maybe I need more details on how it would work. Like, can I just go anywhere, like, say, for instance, healthcare.gov? If you don't know, Kevin was one of the 7 security researchers asked by David Kennedy to back him up on what he was seeing in the site. Now, with a license to hack, does that mean that these guys could go and actively hack the website? I don't know.
No, I still think, as I had mentioned in a blog post that I had recently, the Prime Directive, Rule 0, Rule -1, you always have to have permission to do the hack. Otherwise, you're no better than the script kiddie elite, quote-unquote, elite hacksaws that are doing something. I just think that we've got too many people out there who call themselves pen testers, who call themselves hackers, that are ethical hackers. And I mean, this kind of goes along with, I say ethical hackers. We had ethcial.org get hacked and defaced over the last few days.
Yeah.
And, that kind of puts a black eye on them, because you go in for the certified ethical hacker, you're teaching people the methodologies of hacking ethically. You should be able to defend against said hacks. But it occurs to me that maybe certified ethical hacking, the license, is not all it's cracked up to be. Now, that may not be the case, but that is my perception, and if I'm thinking that way, what about all these other people?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
but
I want to believe that my CISSP tells other people in my field that I know what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. I know that my boss puts a lot of, he puts a lot of stock into the fact that both of us have this. I don't know, I keep seeing more and more that like CISSPs and certifications are just utter crap these days, and it really is just a lot of on-the-job training that you have to learn by doing, and you gain reputation by, being in a good organization, putting yourself out there. A lot of it is marketing.
So we also talked about some of the worst offenses that he's seen, and basically said, not updating your software, running 10-year-old versions of, applications, and then bad coding practices. Now, shoot, I saw one the other day. It said, you go and view source of the web page, and it says in a comment, remove this for production.
Oh.
Yeah, and so, it wasn't removed, so that just gives clues to the hacker to say, what is that? Okay, it's a hidden field with a value of 2. What if I change that to a 1?
Yeah.
What's that going to give me? What's the name of it? What does it do? Whereas if that comment would have never been there, no one would have ever known.
Yeah, I've seen that in bash scripts where you'd have a comment where the developer who created the script would say, okay, I had to put this little code shim in, otherwise, X will happen. And you're like, oh, well, if I take that code shim out, or I can find a way to get around that little code shim, then I can create a denial of service attack. Or if I don't, like the go-to fail that the Apple had. That was a
it was
a lack of quality control on their
something
part.
Like if condition do this, if condition do this, and
Yes.
the second do this was always going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was interesting as well. So
wasn't a good week for security. You got EC Council, and then you had the Apple fail on iPhones and OS X, and and then you've got like I said, the Moon malware is still going around, which will never be patched fully because people don't patch their home routers. It's just been really, really bad last couple weeks for security. All right, well, I guess that's everything we have to talk about. Kevin Johnson has, this was only part 1, so next week we'll have the part 2 about, from Kevin Johnson that we held after the CTF and after the class was over. So we'll have a lot of, it was really long, about a 40-minute podcast, but it was, the next one will be really good. So this was a really excellent series of interviews. If you are interested if you're a listener, and we appreciate all of our listeners, we've been doing gangbusters with the ratings. We're getting our message out there. People seem to be loving it. If you want to be on here for an interview, if you want to come and talk about something, we'll take. We're not looking for celebrities. If you are a privacy expert and you want to come and talk about something that really grinds your gears, contact us. We have multiple ways of doing that. You can contact me on Twitter. Mr. Betcher's on Twitter. Just give us a call. Send us an email.
no doubt.
Yeah, because we want to hear you. We want you've got a message. We're not big celebrities in the information security field. You don't have to be either. We just if you feel like you have something you want to talk about, just feel free to contact us. So. All right, so I guess that's it for the month of February. This will be coming at you pretty soon. Mr. Betcher, you got anything else to say?
That's it. Let's do
All right,
this.
man. All right, so this is episode 7, part 1 of Breaking Down Security. You have a great week.